Hi everyone. I am here today to show you how to begin your first step of continuing education tracking. So we are going to start by filling out the continuing education tracking form. So this is where you will keep track during your 3 years of tracking in the future. But right now, this is where you will fill out your past 3 years of continuing education activities that you would like to count towards your continuing education. So in order to do this, you'll want to log in because it's going to show up in this menu, but you can't see it right now. So I'll go ahead and log in. So now under member pages, you will see the continuing education tab. So here is where you will want to click continuing education tracking. And I am going through the steps found in the instructions document right here. At any point, if you want to go and find the instructions, it'll just take you through all of the step-by-step instructions for filling this out. And that's also where this video will be posted. So I'm going to go to continuing education tracking once I'm logged in. So here is where you will add your continuing education quote unquote credits. ATI does not recognize credits, but the system that we use, this is how it's built out. So we're adapting it for our own use. So in order to add your continuing education activity that you would like to include in your continuing education, you will go to add credit. You can do your event name here. Credit hours, you can leave blank because we technically don't collect information on credit hours. We don't recognize credits. You can optionally include the location of the activity, whether it was online or at a training school, include the instructor name here. Expiration date, you can also leave blank. That's not applicable for us. And then date range, you can choose a start date and an end date. So if your continuing education was a conference or a continuing workshop, you can add a date range here. If it was just a day, then you would just click the same start date and end date to indicate that it was just for one day. And then here's where you select a category. So it could be one of 3 categories: Alexander Technique Study, Service to ATI, or Complementary Areas of Study. And then you will go ahead and save that credit once you've filled this out. So once you save it, it's going to show up like this. So it'll show you your date range. It'll show you what the event was, how many hours it was. Again, that's the optional credit option. You don't have to fill that in. The category that it fell under, it'll say that you added it yourself. The location was online, and then it'll give you the instructor. If you do have a certificate, you can upload it here, but you'll see in step 2 that you will need to add it separately when you submit your continuing education form. And I'll talk more about that in step 2. So in order to export everything that you have here, you're going to want to go over to this filter credits section. And you will want to enter dates for the last 3 years. So let's say from December 31st of 2018 to December 31st of 2021. So that's my 3-year date range. And you won't want to select anything in the categories because you'll want to make sure that all categories are included. And you can ignore this part as well because you're the only person who's going to be filling this out. And then you click Apply Filters. So it's going to pull up everything. I just have a couple of examples here. So you'll have quite a bit more credits than this, or quite a bit more entries than this. But when you do that, when you apply your date field, you'll go over here to Export PDF and click on that. And then it'll ask you if you want to export your transcript for your continuing education. And you'll click Export PDF. And then that'll show up down here in your downloads, or it will show up in your downloads folder in your file explorer. So that is step one. So you will just repeat that for each continuing education activity that you want to include in your continuing education form.